Talk about a child who do love Jesus. Here's one. Here's one. Talk about a child who do love Jesus.
I'm Gabriella Perricone. I'm 18 years old.
My name is Megan Heine. I'm 18 years old.
My name is Katie McDermott, and I'm 17 years old.
My name's Chris. I'm 16.
I'm Rebecca Hankey. I'm 18 years old.
I'm Madison. I'm 18. My name is Gabby Silva. I am 17.
My name's Catherine Borna. I'm 16.
My name is Michael Pliskin. I'm 24 years old.
My name's Beth. I am 15.
Summer. I'm 18.
I'm Brooke Binder. I am 17 years old.
I'm Rosie. I'm 16.
Alyssa Katiri, 17.
Caitlin Hipkin, 18.
Warren, 16.
Laura Lieberman, 18.
My name's Jack Ashback.
Annie Higgins, 16.
I'm Taylor Baton. I'm 17.
My name is Tessa Gonzalez. I am 18 years old.
My name is Edward Hance. I am 17 years old.
My name is Brian Levin. I'm 18.
Oh, that's been
I go to St. Michael's Church.
I go to Hope Lutheran Church in Freehold.
I go to Calvary Lutheran Church in Frankfurt.
I go to St. Michael's Church.
It's called Evangel in Scotch Plains.
Calvary Lutheran Church in Cranford. I go to St. Teresa's.
And I go to Holy Communion Lutheran Church in Berlin.
I go to Kenilworth Gospel Chapel.
I go to Hope Lutheran.
I go to the First Presbyterian Church.
Bethany Lutheran Church.
Because I don't go to church a lot, typical Sunday can consist of anything, probably sleeping later.
I wake up at like 9, and then I go to church at 10.
Computer video games until noon.
And I drive to church with my grandpa.
Homework.
I get showered and I go to work. I pretty much spend the entire day working.
I usually go to church either with my parents or my friends or sometimes by myself.
We go to my grandma's, and we eat dinner.
I would just have a 5 p.m. mass on Sundays.
Sunday I just sit around and do homework. That was exactly like Friday.
Yeah, it's basically a very Christian-oriented day.
came to save us all.
It started out when I was younger, and my parents brought me to church every week and made me go to Sunday school. And then I met some people my age, and we became really good friends. So I came back. I kept coming back by myself because I wanted to see my friends. And then eventually, me and my friends started up a youth group, and now I continue going to church because of that.
Through my mom, she's been going here since we moved here back in the early 1990s, so she's been taking me ever since.
So, I mean, I've been in church forever. I've really stuck with it. I think that getting confirmed in 8th grade was a big thing for me. It really made me love church, I think, made me really connect.
I became involved in church and youth group in about 5th grade when it was time for my first communion, and a lot of things was happening at home with my parents, and I was just having a rough time dealing with things. And instead of turning to other things, I turned to church.
My family has been so deeply rooted in Catholic tradition since the Filipinos are very attached to Roman Catholicism, and ever since I could remember, I think it was 7 years old when I first remember being involved in the altar server ministry.
Sophomore year is when my faith became real to me because a lot of things were going on with me in my life, like the circumstances that were just really hard, and I was going through depression, I guess. And I know it sounds weird, but Jesus saved my life. I've always been involved with church. After I made my confirmation, I started teaching CCD because that's what my mom did, that's what my sister did, so it kind of just passed down. But I got really involved my junior year. That's when I started a youth ministry youth group, and ever since then I've gotten really close to all the people there, and I've made so many friends.
There is one King to save us all.
The last time I went to a church service was Easter Sunday. I was in London and we went to Westminster Cathedral.
Probably 2 years ago.
Easter when I went to visit my brother.
Last time I went to church was Christmas Eve of this past year.
Last Christmas. I probably haven't gone in over a year.
Here at Christmas time, 6 months ago.
Came to save us all.
Because I feel like every time I go to church, I gain a new perspective on how to live my life and how to become a better person. My values and morals are all come from there, so it's nice to share it with other people who have those same values.
Up to my confirmation, I had to go to church just because my parents, and that's what we did every Sunday. But like after confirmation, it was kind of like it was your own choice, and I chose to stay with it, and I would never regret that choice.
Church is like my base ground in my emotional state. When I always feel happier when I'm at church with people from the church, with people from the events, or you guys in the band, and it just helps me out spiritually. So really, it gets me closer to God and helps me just deal with things on the weekly basis and gets me to like look forward to things and in the future and actually make sure there's actually things in my life that can happen.
I'd say that I used to really not want to go to church when my parents made me, but now, like ever since a few years ago, I went to a church retreat, and because of that, it was centered around kids, so I understood what they were speaking about. I understood the sermon, and I really connected with that, and I think because of that, it confirms my belief in God and Jesus, and I keep coming back to church because of those beliefs that I founded a few years ago.
I like my church because we're a smaller church than some of the other churches in town, and I feel like we're one big family. Like everybody knows each other, but it's not in like a gossipy way. It's in a way that you come there and, you know, everybody sits in a queue. You know, during the peace can go on for like 20 minutes because you have everybody to say hi to, and I love it because everybody genuinely cares.
Well, for a while when I was in middle school, I didn't get church. I didn't really feel a connection, but I think that, you know, when you're a teenager, you come to realize that there are a lot of people going through, you know, a lot of difficult stuff, and I think church is something that helps you to deal with it, no matter what it is.
Maybe instead of it being a fun situation where you can meet people, it was more of you have to go, you're forced to go, you should believe in this. And I think it maybe was force-fed to them.
Well, my mom is really religious, and throughout my childhood she forced me to go every week without fail. I would consider myself agnostic.
I don't believe in the Catholic religion. I just go because my parents make me. I consider myself like agnostic. Like I'm not dead set against religion, but at least for now I really haven't found one for me.
I think that another reason is that kids just they never were able to make that connection when they were younger.
I don't know, I'm really not that religious. I haven't really delved into my spiritual being yet.
Because I really don't know what religion I believe in yet.
It's hard for them to accept that there's a higher power, someone greater than them. So I feel like, and a lot of people are into science and they say it's improbable. So I think that also causes a lot of issue. And there's also a lot of discrimination against Christians sometimes, I feel. So like they don't want to express their faith or they don't want to believe that.
Some people probably don't go to church because they have trouble believing in something they can't see. It's not tangible for them, then it's extremely hard for them to believe because they need proof, because that's how our society is. They need to see it to believe it.
I began to have my doubts about religion, read into the subject, did a lot of just reading on it and whatnot, and I just decided that religion was not true and definitely not for me at the very least.
I have this whole distaste for organized religion.
I think one is that they've been raised in a household that doesn't go to church and maybe they don't realize what they're missing.
Well, traditionally I just leave my Sundays for like soccer and doing homework. And I don't know, it's like my family doesn't go every Sunday, so I don't go. So maybe if they went, I'd go too.
I think two, maybe they were involved with church and either had, a specific bad experience, or maybe that overall they didn't get the message that they were looking for.
And sometimes they say things and I don't feel like I'm getting any real, I'm not getting anything out of it, which like sounds selfish, but I feel like they're more preaching to me, but it's not as much of a communal spiritual thing.
I was actually raised Catholic. I made my communion, and then when I was old enough to actually learn about religion myself, I chose to be agnostic. So I was baptized Catholic, I was raised Catholic, but me and my father personally agnostic. We believe in something, but not in organized religion.
It's either because they don't want to, or like you don't have to go to church to pray the Lord, you can stay at your house, but it's probably because of that.
When I used to live in Kearney, I used to go to a church in North Arlington. We were part of the parish, but when we moved here, St. Michael's required us to have a letter saying that we were going to be part of their parish, and we weren't going to do that because it's, in our opinion, ridiculous. So we ended up not, having anywhere to go.
Especially because in the Catholic Church, there are many rules and standards that are put on people to touch on like gay marriage, abortion, it's very controversial issues. And I'm a pretty liberal Christian, and I do support gay marriage. I don't know about abortion, but it's just like there's so many rules, and it's so old-fashioned, the Catholic Church, that it's not keeping up with the times, that so many people are starting to not relate to the church and are turned off by the Catholic Church.
There's a lot of things about the organized church that I really don't believe in. Different things just with, regular, gay marriage and abortion, and there's some things like that I feel like the church is becoming too political.
I'm constantly striving to have less responsibility. I just want more time to myself.
I think it depends on the person. I think some people would say yes is like, okay, I'll try it out. And other people would be like, nah, man, that's not my thing. I have my beliefs and I'm set.
I've had a few friends that never went to church, go with me a few times to see and try out why exactly I love it so much and why it always brings me back there. But most people just refuse to step in a church because it just doesn't appeal to them, and they're just closed-minded to the idea of actually reaching out to God for help.
I don't think so. Usually people think that church is boring and they don't connect with it, and a lot of people don't believe in God. So I don't think that many people would be interested to go with me.
I think it's really difficult to persuade people to go to church with you, just because I think that the stereotypical church is sit down, listen to a sermon, not pay attention, and then it's over. And singing songs that you don't want to sing.
Probably depending on the person I asked. I've tried to drag people to church with me, like, hey, it's really cool, it's fun, and they'd be like, no way.
I mean, if I would ask someone, I would probably pick someone who would say yes. Yes.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, I would.
Yeah, I would definitely try it. I think it's good to kind of explore what's out there.
If it was for some sort of honor, I probably would. If it was just to go to church, then no.
Why was it you that had to die?
Yeah, there's definitely a difference between the atmospheres. In church, I would say it's more solemn, and people are very focused on trying to achieve that meditation. And in school, it's just like, it's a really big difference, because the people there don't really care about spirituality, and most of them complain all the time. At youth group, it's a bunch of random kids. At high school, it's a lot about cliques, and you're friends with a certain amount of people. You don't really talk to everyone. But at youth group, I'm friends with everyone. Maybe some people on a more personal level, but I love everyone at youth group, and I'd say that it's definitely non-judgmental. At school, I feel like you can't say hi to a stranger in the hallway, and you can't really step outside your friend group. But at youth group, you definitely can. And everyone accepts you, and if you make a mistake, it's okay.
Well, for one thing, church is a lot more fun than school. Coming to church, your faith is an important part of you. You really need to express your faith. You really being a Lutheran. It's just a great feeling because everyone has the same views as you, and you can just talk to anybody about anything that's going on in your life, and it's just like a relief knowing that maybe your friends, your parents, you might not want to talk to, but church, and God's always listening as well.
I do feel like sometimes there's a difference. I feel like at youth group, there's so many people, like, they don't care, like, hey, you can be wearing sweats, and they'll be like, you look great today. And sometimes, like, I walk around the high school in, like, sweats, and people are like, oh, it's one of those days. So I feel like it's more open sometimes at youth group because we're so close, and such, like, not a big school, but it's close.
Definitely, I see a difference, but people are people wherever you go. Everyone is going to make mistakes, say stupid things. It's just, at church, people understand your faith more, whereas sometimes at school you'll be judged for it.
Youth group has definitely shaped me, and definitely affected my life in a huge way. Like I said, it wasn't a big deal until around junior year when, some things, it was kind of a bad year. Things happened with college and friends, and after going to a church retreat in the fall and meeting a bunch of new people, it kind of turned my life around in a way, and it definitely affects the kind of decisions and the morals I have and how I view others especially, and definitely how I treat others has changed.
Over, I guess the last year or so, I've definitely became more confident, and I've definitely just been able to be myself a little bit more.
Church has definitely changed me in my life because it's just played a whole big part with going to youth events and meeting the band and getting close with even the people in my own church.
I feel like I've gained a lot of my morals and values from church and learning about how God wants us to live. I pretty much gained like my way of life.
I definitely just feel closer to God and all the people here as well.
I've gained more experience about how to deal with others. Like, we accept so many people. Like, we have Jewish kids coming to our youth group. Like, it doesn't matter like who you are. I've learned to accept so many new people. It doesn't matter what school you go to. We have kids from all over towns. We are combined with Kenilworth. So I've just made so many new friends from all over the state.
I don't think that church has changed me. I think God has changed me.
I don't know. I mean, before I knew people who were in youth group, I figured they sat there and prayed all day and just read the Bible or whatever their holy book was.
A lot of stuff is like fundraising or, helping something out in the community.
I had a very different idea of it before you would tell me about it a lot. I definitely thought that it was like a little more like, oh, I would never be interested in something like that. I felt like it was more, sitting around like, I don't know, finding your way back to Jesus.
I've seen some with more Bible studies, some with more social get-togethers.
They do like charity work, and they help out different organizations and hold different events. And at the youth groups, I know they talk a lot, and they talk about like personal experience, and they all help each other. I know that.
I guess they talk about their faith, and maybe they plan events or help charities.
But then, like, I talked to you, and I talked to, a bunch of other kids that are actually in it, and they're like, no, it's just sort of, like, even you've said, like, we dance to, like, regular music, we have so much fun, and it's sort of just a place where we can be, like, completely open with each other, and that's what a lot of people have told me. I've never experienced it, but it's a place where you can really just be whoever you want, be yourself, and, like, everyone's just there, sort of like-minded, but everyone's not the same, and, it's just an open atmosphere, which is really awesome.
But now I know that they sit there, they play games. They're really just friends hanging out in a building, and that's really all it is. It's just a way for people to be brought together, to make friends. It's like a club.
We play fun games, we get to know each other, we eat a bunch of crap, we help out at the food bank, and we do some other service things like Christmas caroling to the shut-ins from our church. And we also go on fun trips like laser tag and bowling and mini golfing.
We would play games with each other. We usually play like Ninja or Apples to Apples.
We love to play dodgeball. That's like, we go up and we play dodgeball for like we could play dodgeball for hours on end.
We just have a good time with each other. We have like events, different like superhero night or survivor night. We just have a fun time with a bunch of people who share the same morals and values as you.
Everyone gets together at a little table. We talk about the week, what's been going on, any changes, and then we have a little story time and fun time, and then there's a lesson each week, and we just relate our everyday lives to the lesson.
If we have the right people, we have awesome discussion. Like, I love it.
But other times we have a really serious kind of discussion night. Sometimes we talk about issues that are bothering us, or we did an If You Really Knew Me kind of night where everybody got to share, something about themselves that others may not have known, and it's stuff like that that really ties us together. But the silly stuff is also a big part of it. We love to just run around, and we have like an Xbox in our youth room, and we all like to play Connect and stuff like that.
We kind of, after our meetings, we just hang around, talk, shoot hoops.
And we also have a trip each year to laser tag, and it's crazy fun.
One of my favorite memories from youth group would be when we have family time at the youth events. Like in Crossroads, we had our own little circle, our family time, and we just told our faith stories, and after I told mine, I got everyone crying.
Other than their beliefs, not really. Just because you go to church every Sunday doesn't mean you're a better person than somebody who doesn't, so.
Not as big of a difference. It's still the same people, but it's more faith.
Not really. It's depending on the person, because if you're saying that a person who goes to church is more like morally correct or have, it's like just generally like better people, I would beg to differ.
Actually, I do. Like, sometimes people who go to church a lot are like really nice people. I guess that could be like a stereotypical thing, but that's my point of view on it.
Basically no. But they're the same, but at the same time, there's kind of like a quirky part about them that's kind of nice to have when you have friends too.
Yeah, people who go to church sometimes seem like a little bit more happy with life. Like, I don't want to say like carefree, but they kind of do seem really satisfied, while people who do not go to church, they sometimes notice that they still have stuff to take care of before they can be fully satisfied.
Thinking about it, I don't know whether this has to really do with religion, but there's definitely just having that sort of base, I think, gives a little bit more of another direction to someone. Like, maybe you're not just as aimless as some people who have nothing are.
Yeah, but it's not, I don't think it's a church that affects people. I think it's their relationship with God. I think it's what affects people. But everyone still has problems, everyone still has issues. No one's better than someone else because they do or don't go to church.
Well, I believe when I first think Christian teenager, I think the stereotypical goes to church, goes to youth group, doesn't really do anything bad, very conservative. But then I rethink, oh wait, I have a lot of Christian teenage friends who aren't that way. And really there is no difference. So I try not to think about it like there's a difference.
As far as on an everyday basis, I don't think that there's any sort of difference at all. We're just being teenagers.
I definitely do. I think that how you treat others is a big thing. Everybody's through church and through youth group, I've learned that everybody's fighting a hard battle, and it's important to be nice, no matter what. And I just see some people treat others unbelievably rude for people who are, 17 and 18 years old, what's the harm in being nice to somebody and just smiling instead of, making a nasty Facebook status or a nasty tweet or something about somebody when, I know it takes a lot more to be nice, but it's worth it in the end.
There's a couple of different categories. You're either really into church, you're not into it all, and you don't like your church, or you can be one of those people who, you say you're into it, but maybe you're not, or you don't admit to being into it, but you kind of are. So like there's different ways of putting it.
I mean, it's not my belief or my faith, but good for them. I'm not gonna, be mad about that.
I sometimes think that, if they're raised Catholic, sometimes I question whether the fact that they actually, thought deep about, like, if they wanted to stay like that. But if they do, more power to them. But I don't really have, like, any negative or positive opinions towards them. I just, let them live the way they do, and I'll live the way I do.
I don't know, I kind of admire them because they have a group that they fit in with, they have something that they're committed to and they're passionate about. Because once you're a teenager, either you're religious or you're just kind of not. So the ones that are religious really are religious. They actually believe in it, they're passionate about it, they commit themselves fully. And I can't do that because I can't. Like, I wish I was religious sometimes, but I'm just not.
Christian teenagers, just like everyone else.
But I think there's definitely a little bit of a stereotype, but I think around here, it's really not too much of a stigma, I think. Some kids do, and I don't think it really makes a difference with their friends or anything.
Generally, I mean, they're my friends. I'm friends with Christians. If I went down south and I were to be in like the Bible Belt, I'm sure they'd be a lot more involved in the religion aspect. But up here, I mean, it's just part of life. It's not their whole life. Whereas down there, it's mostly like their whole life.
It's a little erratic for me, and sometimes they're a little too pushy. Like, there are those people that like hand out Bibles on street corners. I think that's like, it really turns people off from religion, and it kind of turns me off from it. So I mean, I like accept the fact that people are really like excited about it, and it's nice to have something to be excited about. But I mean, personally, it doesn't do anything for me.
In all honesty, it does make me wonder a little bit, like, who talked you into this? Makes me, sometimes I think, like, I hope you weren't, I'm not saying you are, but I'm just saying, talking to this Christian teenager, I said, I hope you're not brainwashed. Just because when I was a teenager, that was the last thing I was concerned with. The last thing I was concerned with.
Non-churchgoers probably think I'm like a I love Jesus kind of person. Like a crazy, I don't even know, but I don't care. I'm pretty sure the whole school knows that I'm like a Catholic, very like, good morals and not like doing drugs and alcohol, and just like sticking with the church, and very spiritual person because I kind of preach to people a lot, which is probably bad, but I'm proud of it. So.
They probably think that I'm a hypocrite, kind of like, I don't know how to say, like, in a cult, kind of like I'm blinded by my religion and I'm not open to anything else besides that.
To be honest, I definitely think people's first perception of me is probably that I'm not cool. And that used to bother me. It doesn't anymore. But I think maybe opinions change depending upon, what their perspective of church are.
I think that people see me as sort of like, oh, she's Christian, she's, is going to say Bible verses at any second, she's a little bit of a prude, and I'm like, sometimes that just bothers me because I'm like, that's not who I am. Like, I am this 18-year-old teenager, I like to go out on the weekends and do stuff, and I'm not like going to sit inside at home and read my Bible. Not that there's anything wrong with the Bible, but I feel like it's an unfair interpretation because like, just because I love God doesn't mean that I am, weird or gonna try to shove it down your throat ever. It's a part of my life, but I'm still a normal person.
We always say is like, our line is, we're not Bible thumping Jesus freaks. Like, we don't sit around in a circle the entire time singing like Kumbaya, drinking the magic Kool-Aid. Like, we're just normal kids. Like, we have fun.
But I don't think they'll ever really look down on you because of how many people actually do go to church versus how many people don't.
They definitely think I'm weird because they don't really understand why or how church has changed me through the years, and they only see it as me having time to go with my grandpa and have time to actually spend time with him before he leaves like this earth, and they just don't understand how church can really put you in a good mood.
I mean, I get criticized all the time by some of my friends that like don't go to church, like that I like love Jesus and like I'll never do anything bad and like I'd never break the law and whatever, and like and it's not because of church. Like even if I didn't go to church, I think I'd still be the way that I am, but I think the church has influenced me more to make the right decisions. And I don't know, I think that people outside of like going to church regularly and really knowing what it's like kind of judge us just because they think it's like weird, just because it's out of the norm.
Yeah, I've been called stupid for being a Christian. Like, oh, you're a stupid Christian, you're a hypocrite, you hate gays, you hate all of these people. So they don't really look past that.
I don't think poorly of them. I think that in a lot of ways we're similar. I think that maybe a difference would be I'm not really involved with drinking and smoking and drugs. And I'm not saying that people that go to church don't do that, because I'm sure some do. And I'm not saying that everyone that doesn't go to church does that, but I think that based on like the majority, I know I never really touch that stuff or get involved.
I think they're missing out if they don't go to church, because when you don't go to church, you know, on a typical Sunday morning, let's say you sleep in till noon, you've missed all that opportunity to really just become a better person, because you're just so much stronger inside and out, and it just makes you feel really good when you go.
Not that like I'm better because I go to church. I don't believe that at all. But I think that my morals and my ethics are different. But I also think that has to do with the way I was brought up. I think that I act a lot differently than the kids that are my age that don't go to church. I almost like weigh the consequences, I think, more than others do, just because I've learned so much about it.
The people that never go to church don't seem to be as accepting as the ones who do go to church. Because no matter what race, color, size, height, whatever you are, whoever you are, the people in the church will always accept you.
Teenagers these days that don't go to church, a lot of them I know probably feel like some of the rules that we follow or some of our morals are very strict, and that's why they're like, oh, well, they don't go to church because they feel like they're going to be imposed onto them, which really they shouldn't be.
I really don't think any lesser of them. It's the kind of thing where I have really strong beliefs and a strong ground in faith, but I don't judge others because they do or they don't. Like, that doesn't matter to me. As long as you're not... I've met people that have put down my beliefs and been like, why do you believe in that? That's stupid. And, you know, you can be an atheist and I can be your best friend just as long as you're not trying to shove your beliefs down your throat and telling me that my beliefs are wrong.
I feel like they're very different. They have different moral values and stuff.
I mean, they're still my friend, so they can't think horribly about it. I mean, I'm sure they would like it if I went like every Sunday and got in touch with the guy up there, but yeah, they're still my friends, so I think they're all right with it.
I guess I wouldn't be able to give you like an exact kind of thing, but obviously it's negative because I guess if you like by the Bible, Christians would really, I guess, disapprove of the fact that we don't like, you know, observe God's day and like that kind of, and you know, that kind of thing. But I mean, I guess, I don't know. I mean, Christians, to me personally, stereotypically are very like, you know, you have to go to church, you have to do this, you have to follow everything by the way the Bible is written. So I guess it would, you know, be jam.
Well, I think that people who go to church and believe in their religion should understand why someone who, like me, doesn't go to church that much. And but some people really are really strict about their religion, think that everyone should go. And maybe they think lower of me because I don't go to church.
Maybe they want to rely on that. Some of them probably think that I'm closed-minded, or maybe just I haven't been exposed.
I would certainly hope that they'll just judge me on who I am and what I do, rather than just me not choosing to belong to any sort of religion. I know that certainly there are some people out there who would fear me just because, oh, he's a Satan worshiper, he's an atheist, something like that. But at the same time, as I said earlier, I have lots of religious friends. I never feel threatened or anything just because I don't believe in any sort of God.
I have really never felt like judged by anyone, which I think is great, because I think that sometimes the way the church is sort of built, that's one even the things that I don't like about it, is that I feel like a lot of times the church, the people who are in charge tend to, put out judgments, but more than really I think Christians do, and especially kids. I think most kids nowadays in general, like our generation plus, in our school and my friends are really like completely open-minded, sort of do what you want, get what you want out of it, and basically whatever you want to do.
I mean, I personally feel like they look down upon me. I feel like if I were to sit with a group of Christian teenagers and talk about how I lived my life and what I believed in, that they wouldn't even be open-minded to it. I feel like they would just stick me in a category and like judge me. And I've had a lot of people, like, you know how rumors spread and stuff, like I do things that maybe aren't exactly religiously correct. I don't even know if that's like a word. And they don't understand the lifestyle that I live. And I've had people come up to me and tell me, I can't believe you do that. I can't believe that you would put yourself in that situation. I've even had really religious people talk to me about the way that I dress. And I look at them and I tell them, this is my right. This has nothing to do with my religion.
I think some Christians my age, I think we take a really good look at it. I think it's not as it used to be, where like if you weren't Christian, then it was like, oh, you're not Christian, like I can't hang out with you. I think it's more widely open. If you're a Christian, you find someone who's like Jewish, it's like, oh hey, like how are you? Like this is awesome. Like you're Jewish. Like I don't know anything about that, but it sounds really cool. And I think Christian teens now, I think they really like take it in and they really want to find out about other people's religions, which is great.
Involved, and that's it. And in my own small group right now, we're reading the book of John collectively, so we read a chapter every week, and then we discuss it, and we kind of just talk about different things.
Are you interviewing?
Yeah.
Oh, snap. I'm so sorry. I have to leave upstairs, so watch your room for me, okay? You found the camera.
When was the last time you've been to church service?
I was at church.
Oh crap. How long has that been there? Hold on. Did I just do that?
You just did that.
Alright, hold
I mean, I don't go to church and I don't do those illegal activities that churchgoers do. So.
What illegal activities have churchgoers committed?
Well, I know from experience that here in Cranford High School, many of the churchgoers are alcoholics. They are alcoholics. And I will go on tape saying that.
In Luke 1:49, it talks that God, who is mighty, has done great things, or will do great things, and I think that that's totally true.
Romans 12:21, it's do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good.
John 14:6, I am the way and the Lord and the life.
Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 to 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight.
Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven.
The Lord be with you.
And also with you.
Let us pray. Excellent. We're glad to be here tonight to have fun and play games. Amen.
I found that people like want to go. Like people want you to ask them to come sometimes. Like, not everyone, but a lot of people, like they're just looking for something greater.
Because it's hard when you've been doing this your entire life. Even though I don't consider myself Roman Catholic, when I talk to God, when I say a specific prayer, when I need something, I want to have a spiritual moment, anything, it starts with, it's just how I was raised. I can't get rid of it. I don't know why,
Do
but
you want to get rid of it?
I don't know. No, not really.
Well, back to my mom again. She and my sister go to Washington, D.C. every year for the Walk for Life, March for Life. It's a big pro-life rally, basically, in Washington, D.C. And they get these shirts that say, Jesus loves you, pro-life. Yeah. And they hold signs up and they chant. I just think it's ridiculous.
Don't necessarily judge church by the people who go to it, because I don't really like the term religion, because I think it stereotypes people. You have to, just because people are messed up doesn't mean that God is.
And I guess lastly, just because like in the beginning you were talking about like a lot about conservative Christians and how you're not very into the church and how things run and abortion and gay marriage and stuff like that. I know that's mainly Catholicism belief. Would you I don't know, personally, are you exploring other kinds of things? Or
I've told my parents that even because there's something even about the fact that women can't be priests, and then there's one of our classmates whose mother is a priest, and she has a family, and I feel like there's this whole I feel like a lot of Catholicism is sort of tradition just for tradition's sake, and there's other religions, other forms of Christianity that I definitely would want to look at, just because I think I would like, I feel like a lot of times, and I think I'm one of those people who needs to have something to believe in, but I haven't really found it in strict Catholicism.
I want to thank Bridget Gutierrez for a really interesting documentary, and I can't wait to see it. And I also wanted to say that I'm very inspired by other Catholic role models. I want to put it out there. I am a big fan of Jeremy Lin because he stands for the Christian way of living, not bragging on the corner, being arrogant. He also got the best sportsmanship, and he was voted by all the NBA players. And Jeremy Lin is just a fantastic person who represents the Catholic, the Christian community, as well as the Asian community in a positive aspect. And thank you, Jeremy Lin, for being awesome. And yeah, that's it.